Hi, and welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox, on what is probably the hottest day of the year so far. And here we are right at the end of summer. It is astonishingly hot. Now, I've had such a day. Everything that could have gone wrong went wrong. From cars breaking down, having to take my wife to the train station, everything. I'm not going to go into it. It has just been a horrendous day. Which is why I haven't done too much in recording. But that's my problem, not yours. We're here now. We have one story. Well, we have a couple of stories. I might get the other one out. But this one is about Patrick Grady. Again, we all know what he is. He has been described as a various sort of pest. We all know what he is. We call him the Thumb because he looks like somebody's thumb. But anyway, Katy Loudon, the SNP candidate in Rutherglen, says she would welcome this strange little man back to the campaign trail. Very odd considering what he is. We all know what he is. A man who likes to inappropriately, address himself with teenagers. Let's just leave it there. But she said that she'd be happy to have him back on the trail. And I find that rather bemusing. Rather an odd thing to admit. So anyway, we'll have a look at the story, see what's going on and see why Katy Loudon seems to be very, very desperate for all the help she can get, even from the likes of Patrick Grady. Here goes. So Katy Loudon branded shameful after claiming she would welcome the Thumb to campaign in Rutherglen and Hamilton West. Glasgow North MP has already been spotted campaigning in South Lanarkshire with Katy Loudon, claiming he'd made a terrible mistake. But now he has been punished for it. But she would certainly welcome him back on the trail. I mean, you've got to seriously question her judgement, because I suspect the last thing the good people of Rutherglen and Hamilton West would want would be the likes of Patrick Grady standing knocking on their front door and opening the door and seeing that thumb-like face. The SNP's candidate in Rutherglen and Hamilton West has been branded shameful after admitting she would welcome the pest Grady to campaign with her. Katy Loudon even claimed that Glasgow North representative had made a terrible mistake, but he'd already been punished. Mr. Grady, of course, was found guilty of harassing a teenager at a pub in London and inappropriately touching him. And he was suspended for the SNP for 6 months and given a one-day ban from the House of Commons, and that tells you exactly what the House of Commons thinks of the seriousness of the nature of when an MP can do inappropriate things to a teenager. But the Nationalist Party were attacked for rallying around the shamed MP after Tubby Blackford urged his colleagues to support him for some unknown reason. Why would you support someone like this? It just doesn't make sense, does it? Anyway, he was welcomed back into the party last year, given the whip, and told to carry on. I presume they mean carry on MPing, not carrying on touchy-upping. Now, Miss Loudon has been blasted by opposition parties after saying it would be okay to campaign alongside him in South Lanarkshire. Mr. Grady was already spotted campaigning in Rutherglen and Hamilton West last month, sparking outrage from opposition politicians and indeed from some of the people on the streets. They just don't want people like this anywhere near them. Why the SNP think this is acceptable is beyond me, and it's beyond the ken of anyone who is in any way sort of decent, not given over to those particular proclivities, shall we say. Scottish Labour Deputy Leader Dame Jackie Bailey wrote to the SNP to demand they prevent him from chapping doors in the region. However, Miss Loudon told the Scotsman that she would be happy to campaign alongside him. Like I say, it's a very poor optics on this. Does she not sort of realise what she's doing? She's publicly backing a man who does these things to teenage boys. It is not right. And yet she seems to think that people will find it acceptable. But then she's a member of the SNP Green government. And we know that I did the story yesterday about the Green MP or SNP member who wanted to allow children as young as 8 to determine, their gender and things. And of course, the SNP sent, I did this last year, the SNP sent out those forms asking children as young as 5 how they, do things to themselves. And I'm not lying, I've got the video. They actually sent those forms out, presumably getting these answers back from 5-year-olds, and then sitting under the table, knocking one out. That's all you can imagine them doing. Anyway, Loudon said Patrick made a terrible mistake. He says she says there's been an investigation which our party supported, and that was the right thing for that committee to be investigating. And asked if she would want him to come back and campaign. She said, I've been asked about various people. Would you be happy for this person to campaign or this person to campaign? And she said, we welcome any activist who wants to come along, even people like Patrick. Pressed on this, whether included Mr. Grady, she said yes. She added, my focus now is just on this campaign. I've never been involved in any of the party's disciplinary proceedings yet, or sat on any of these committees. A party has taken action. A Westminster committee has taken action. And if Patrick comes along here to campaign as an activist, then he would be doing so in that capacity, highlighting one of the major problems, of course, of the SNP and their sort of acceptance of the wrongdoer and the rejection of the complainee. They always protect the one who does the crime. They never think twice about the poor victims. The victims themselves are victim shamed within the SNP, and we've seen it many, many times. Her comments have been criticised, and she's been accused of brushing Mr. Grady's misconduct under the carpet. Well, what can you say? It's spot on, basically. Yeah, they're just not addressing the issue. They're refusing to hold him to account, effectively. Scottish Conservative Chairman Craig Hoy, MSP, said, these are remarkably naive remarks from the SNP's by-election candidate. Patrick Grady abused his position of authority and he assaulted a junior member of staff. It was shameful that he had the SNP whip restored, and it looks as though someone who would be joining him in the Commons benches if she's successful is all too happy to brush his misconduct under the carpet. Her words are an insult to the young victim, he said, and sends a very poor message to anyone who's experienced this kind of harassment, especially from especially from Grady, or possibly Harvey. That was a slip of the tongue, but you never know. Patrick Grady, he said, is not fit to be an MP, yet alone be out helping the SNP's efforts in Rutherglen and Hamilton West. And I like this line, to round this one off, I like this from Bailey. Miss Bailey said, once again the SNP is happy to turn a blind eye to Patrick Grady's misconduct when it suits the party's interests. Rutherglen and Hamilton West deserve better than this sleaze-ridden SNP. And they are sleazy, they are shady, they are almost criminals. They are certainly a corrupt and nasty organisation. And there's no place for him in politics at all. Can you imagine him touching your teenage child? Ooh. Coming up. He truly is a grotesque little man from a very grotesque little party filled with the most obnoxious sorts of people. And he really shouldn't have any role in politics in future. And he has been deselected, so at least he's gone. Anyway, I shall stop there. Thank you very much for watching this video. If this has been entertaining or in any way enlightening, and do please hit the subscribe button for more. We bring you the truth. We need your help to make that truth widely available, and your help is best done by hitting the subscribe button and definitely hitting the like button. And until next time, stay safe, stay well, and just keep Patrick Grady away from teenagers. Bye.